Aaron Lee. Oh, there you are, sorry. Thank you all for joining us. Today we are going to be talking about how Mayor Keller has initiated a citywide effort to help support those who are facing or are at risk for losing their SNAP benefits due to the federal cuts. So today, these are all our speakers that we will be hearing from, so I will turn it over to Mayor Keller.
All right, thanks. Thank you. Well, I want to welcome everyone to our John Marshall Health and Service Center. And this particular spot has been totally redone. This is still, I believe, a community kitchen, but it used to be a community kitchen of sorts before. And many of you, like the food that my kids eat was made here until a couple of years ago. That was in the after-school program. So just a little bit about this location. So what we want to do is speak on a couple of fronts today. You know, we were working on affordability issues starting in the summer. And some of you, if you happen to remember the State of the City, we talked about affordability as being one of the initiatives that we were going to work on in the fall. And that has unfortunately intersected with the fragility of our SNAP benefits right now. And of course, formally, informally known as food stamps. The now lack of these funds that probably, unfortunately, will happen November 1, unless that's resolved before then, obviously has all of us preparing. And when I say all of us, we know the number is roughly 400,000 across the state. That is a giant number of people who rely on SNAP. We estimate it's at least 100,000 here on Albuquerque, if not more. And so this is a community-wide challenge. And I also want to begin by thanking all the businesses who have stepped up and offered free meals for children, especially. And so there's now too many to go through and name, which is actually a great thing. But I know they're all online. I know there's been a lot of good coverage about this on where folks can go. So the reality that families are facing now is you have longstanding affordability issues around core things like rent and food, and also around now the possibility of not having SNAP benefits. So we have rising grocery prices and growing demand, and we also we know at our local food banks and food pantries that more and more people are showing up. And of course, that is going to skyrocket if the SNAP benefits are not restored. So our goal is to be ready and do everything we can to help. And we know that that is truly a community effort. That's why there is a long range of community partners here. There's actually sort of so many city departments and community partners, we can't name them all. But I see Los Sardinas right there. I see Agricultura. I see Semilla and many others who are part of this. So thank you so much. But everyone who's working on this, I know there are dozens and dozens of nonprofits working on this, of course. And we want to touch on a few things that we're going to be able to do. So we also remember that food insecurity is a combination of affordability, of stability, of dignity, and of even things like access to housing. So we want to acknowledge all of those root causes and interdependencies, but we also want to talk about some things we can try and do to help. So number one is we're going to try and mobilize all the city resources we can to help, just straightforward. That is one thing we are doing with this executive order. So we're requiring, whether it's every department or every facility, to find a way to contribute to helping people deal with either affordability or food insecurity or the lack of SNAP benefits for our families. Now, we are going to do this in many ways because of the urgency through an executive order, which I'll talk about. And so some of the key parts of this executive order are essentially dealing with issues that have held us back from not having enough local food. And when we think about local food, there's obviously the grower component of that. We understand how important that is historically to us and to the benefits that we see even with children and families growing our own food. But we have to connect that to access. And that access, of course, we all understand concepts now like farmers markets, but it's actually much more difficult than people think to actually get food that you grow or that the community grows into the people's hands who actually need that food that is at least at a market price or cheaper than a market price. It's easy to pay a premium and order some fancy food box of whatever. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how can we get that food from a local grower to someone in need in a faster, more efficient way. So that's what this deals with. And part of it is actually about legalizing essentially neighborhood markets. So our zoning code and our environmental health regulations have long actually been bureaucratic roadblocks. Those of you who are familiar with the concepts of like abundance, these are books, but they're concepts, or why things work. It's another book reference. This is a great example of how government in general, well-intentioned, the intention is usually around safety, food safety, and food quality. But when you layer in all these different regulations, it's basically nearly impossible to open a small market in Albuquerque under current regs, because everything that we define as a market or a grocery store is meant for a large retailer, or it's meant for a farmer's market one-day sale. So there's a gap there. And that's what we're going to try and essentially, ironically, in this way, it's through deregulation, but it's sort of legalizing neighborhood markets. And of course, in other communities, these are often called bodegas. And so this is going to be a big step for Albuquerque to essentially legalize this whole concept and make it much simpler and straightforward from a city permitting perspective. And we're also going to try and incentivize those folks to actually sell local produce. Because this is the other thing. If I can't make a farmer's market on Saturday afternoon, how do I get local produce? We want the answer to be mini markets selling local produce. And so that's the other component of this. Another one is we're now going to fully sort of legalize using city property for community gardens. We do this all over the place, dozens and dozens of locations, but it's nowhere near what we could do if we just took all of these little easements and empty lots. And we need a partner to do it with, so it's not like I'm going to be out there, actually with a hoe and seeding fields. We need people who know what they're doing, which would not be me in that case, to actually do that. And so that's why we want to partner with as many organizations as we can to essentially adopt a piece of city land and make it productive in terms of growing food. And the last thing is, on the other end of the spectrum, we know that food waste is a massive challenge. It is all across America, and of course it certainly is here. But as the state's largest city, if you look at the sort of contribution to food waste, it's really just based on population. But for us, it's much higher, right, than anywhere else in New Mexico. So if you want to make a big difference on food waste, you got to do it in a place like Albuquerque, especially where most of our restaurants are. So here again, we have challenges around bureaucracy, whether it is solid waste pickups that are for trash versus environmental health regulations for sort of a secondary food market. This is what we're going to try and develop. So these are systematic changes, but now they're more urgent and important than ever, because there's a huge opportunity there to have wonderful food that comes from amazing restaurants and bakeries that is totally fine. It's just under the current regs, half a day old, things like that. So there's, again, a tie-in to these local markets that could actually sell these things as well. So this is what we're going to try and put together through this executive order. So you see a combination of some urgent things, and you see a combination of some systematic changes that we've needed for a long time. Now, the last thing I would say is going back full circle to where we're dealing with the situation with folks losing SNAP benefits. We are now making sure, as a reminder, the city runs pantries and emergency clothing drops at every health and service center. So like this, there are 4 of these. And these function incredibly during emergencies. We use them throughout COVID for all sorts of things, including handing out checks to businesses. Now, they will once again come into play. If you cannot find food or clothing anywhere, go to one of these 4 locations. And they will make sure that you're getting what you need, or we're getting you to where you can get what you need. The same thing in reverse. There are many places that will take donations, whether it's Goodwill or whether it's Big Brothers Big Sisters for food, or whether it's Roadrunner Food Bank and all the other different things for food. But again, we want to make it easy and convenient for folks. So the city has 4 locations. You can drop off food and clothing at any of those 4 locations. We will do the sorting to make sure it gets into the system in the best way. So that is activating our emergency response so that folks have access to food and clothing during these these difficult times. Okay, so we're going to touch on each one of these in much more detail, but I want to begin with, we have a city councilor who's been passionate around this issue for a long time, even before she was a city councilor, and also has been working in her own way to try and fix a number of challenges with respect to food system, and of course, working together with us on a sort of living example of that, which is the International District Food Market. So please bring up Councilor Nicole Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm so grateful to see this work amplified and really talk about the entire city and not just District 6. In September, District 6 launched a food justice project for the International District where we convened. We have about 190 folks really engaged in food justice in District 6, and we had a kickoff and really talked to the folks doing the work about what they needed from us in order to amplify their work that they've been doing in these communities for generations. This is not anything new. And so what we heard was that we needed to get out of our own way and open up the market for different entrepreneurs. So for the International District, this is really more than just about growing food. It's about growing community power, because we already have that in our district. And in District 6, we're going to be investing in local leaders, restoring access to healthy food, because we are suffering from housing instability, from food deserts, all of the things that this executive order will also help us amplify in a bigger way and faster than I can do on city council to get 5 votes to do these things. So I'm really grateful, because I think this work, partnering together, Mayor and I both had this idea about bringing the bodegas back. They had a draft, I had a draft, and it's like, well, let's put them together and work together. And that's the power of when we're all working together and pulling in the same direction, we really can do something. I'm really glad that we convened that group, because when we heard about the SNAP benefits, we had 190 people that we could mobilize right away to start telling us, what do you need right now in the interim? I definitely have to say thank you to the governor. She announced yesterday $30 million that the state of New Mexico will put in to help that gap. But I asked her today, how long will that $30 million last? And it will only last for 10 days. And I don't know what's going to happen in the federal government in the next 10 days, but we know that that's just a 10-day solution that we're grateful for. But we need to get back to what we've always done in communities of color, right? Which are the community networks where we take care of each other and where we lift up places like Semilla, Los Jardines, Mutual Aid, the Project Feed the Hood, right? All of these people that are already doing this work, let's lift them up, and because they're gonna help us fill these gaps, and let's get to that community care networks where we feed our own hood and we take care of each other, because that's the only way we're going to get through this. We know how to do this in our communities of color. We've been here, and we know how to band together and take care of each other. So I would just offer that. Let's all roll up our sleeves over the next month and do what we need to do, utilizing the city resources to take care of our communities. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you for elevating this work in a way I couldn't do myself. Thank you.
Well, we're grateful to have a good partner at City Council on this, and a lot of these executive orders, as you know, we will continue to try and convert them into ordinance. So let's see. What I want to do now is bring up. There are a number of folks who are, there's actually a lot of experts in this room, but we want to highlight just a few. And so I do want to start with what we're doing with respect to food distribution and bring up Eleanor Benavides. Eleanor, come on up. Yeah.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Eleanor Benavides. I'm the division manager for the Health and Social Service Centers. The Health and Social Service Centers, as the mayor said, that there is 4 within the city of Albuquerque, and we're all in, in different quadrants of our city to help our communities. We've been there for 25 plus years. So, and we've been there to help individuals and families in time of need. During COVID, the food pantry that we all 4 of us have a food pantry. During COVID, when the government was shut down, only the city of Albuquerque food pantry stayed open. We never shut down, not one day. For the first 6 months, we were the only food pantries in the city of Albuquerque that were helping. So we'll get through this. Our team is strong, and we're rolling up our sleeves, as Nicole said, and we are ready for the challenge, and we don't see any issues with our team helping everybody get through this. Our health and social services centers, we do have hours of operation, which are Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Our distributions are from 10 to 12, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 to 3. So they just need to show up. We ask that they go to their center in their area. If they don't, that's fine. We will make sure, we want to get them to the center that's closest to their area. We want them to save gas. We don't want them to come out clear across town just to get food. So if they want to call 311, and 311 has all the information of our centers, and they can guide them. Also, our website, they can look us up on our website, and our team is ready for anybody who is in need of service. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And we also want to touch on, we are certainly, and again, as we think about scaling, what is amazing is there are a lot of people doing this good work. When we've got to scale it to help another 10,000, 100,000 people, it does take volunteers. And so we are also rolling out a platform for volunteers to get involved, and Ellen Braden's going to tell us more about that.
Thank you, Mayor. The need to ensure that our community has access to nutritious food is really a call for all of us to help how and where we can. Eleanor today told me that just one of the centers alone had 89 new families sign up for food benefits. Sometimes we're just one of the 4. So sometimes we're limited by how much food we can give out, not by how much food we have, but rather by how much staff power we have to distribute the food. So one of the ways that we can help in ensuring that our neighbors have access to food is signing up to volunteer to distribute that food. And you can sign up at oneabqvolunteers.com. That's oneabqvolunteers.com. You can also bring any non-perishable food items to donate to any of the 4 health and social service centers. Another way that we can help in this food crisis is to make a financial donation if you can, either directly to a health and social service center or to a food pantry of your choice. If you have other needs, be sure and check out cabq.gov for other resources that are available. Thank you.
Okay, now we're continuing to roll through some of the city folks who work on this every day. And a lot of people don't know that we actually have someone who is in charge of sort of urban food and farming. And so we want to also invite Stephanie Olivas to share a few words.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Stephanie Olivas. I am the City Local Agriculture Community Coordinator. This position was founded 4 years ago, and I just really appreciate the founding of this position and the programming that we're able to just start to sort of pick at the surface of what the possibilities are for the city to support agriculture in our community and food growing projects. So I'm with the Open Space Division in Parks and Rec, and we have farmlands at Open Space. So it's like one scope of my work, but also working with different city departments and on other Parks and Rec lands to establish and expand existing gardens. And let's see here, also just like facilitating partnerships and building those opportunities with long-standing partners like Feed the Hood and new partnerships like Simia Project, as the mayor mentioned, to sort of help build programming and grow, massive amounts of food. Feed the Hood, a garden that's been around for like 15 years now on city land, is growing tons, literal tons of food every year to give to community. And so let's see here. It's really exciting. I've been waiting a long time to talk about this, and I've been doing this work for 2 years now. And there's just so much to touch on that that we're gonna continue to highlight. We'll be giving some updates on the new local ag and the Metro website, city website, and we'll be highlighting some of these sites as well. And excuse me. Let's see here. Sorry, this is my first time speaking on this platform. So I really appreciate this executive order because there's just so much work to do. And I've had a really great time just working with old partners and new partners to allocate city resources to make meaningful contributions to existing and new projects, providing technical support, building infrastructure at community gardens, at school gardens. And with this executive order and a lot of city partners, we really want to be able to expand this type of work, as the mayor mentioned, activating additional city lots to really, and then having the city invest in helping build those. And establish that infrastructure for long-term sustainability, not just for literal food growing, but other food system projects, processing centers, community kitchens, and the like. And let's see here. I think also, so just again to touch on that, we're just barely scratching the surface. And I know there's a lot of work where we can support more smallholder farmers, these families who have had a small plot of land in their family for generations, and use that small alfalfa field as supplemental income for their household. There's a lot that we can do and vision on. And I just want to thank also, community again. I know we're shouting that out a lot, but I started this work almost 15 years ago at the Project Feed the Hood garden, where while you were senator for the district, sponsored that garden that year. Former councilor Ray Garduno helped facilitate establishing the agreement for Project Feed the Hood to run that space, which is now just thriving. And so just to give that example, because that investment that community organizations like Placita, Jardines, SWAP, Agricultura, all of these farmers, all of these organizers who have been in it for generations, holding that space for people like me now in this position where we're creating actual systematic reform. And so thank you also to community for holding that space for me back then, and now continuing to hold that space for us in this moment now, to where we can just hopefully just hit the ground running and continue to grow fresh, nutritious food for New Mexicans and for ourselves.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. And I remember that actually 15 years ago, and I love that how fruitful it has been, no pun intended. But we also are fortunate the city, another slot that we created is around food waste and food rescue. And so I want to bring up Sandra West, who's been working a ton on this. Sandra, come on up.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very grateful that our sustainability office is made possible, thanks to the mayor, including my position. And I'm just going to touch on some highlights that directing food to its highest possible use yields so many benefits, including saving people money. With an estimated 112,000 tons of food wasted each year in the Albuquerque area, there are a lot of opportunities to feed people. It is estimated that just by throwing away less food, a family of 4 can save $56 a week. An individual up to $700 in a year. That matters. Composting the remaining food waste and applying it to local soils recycles the nutrients. It builds healthy soils and allows us to grow more local, healthy food. By composting at home or in your community, you can save money just by using your finished compost instead of buying additional soil amendment material. In Albuquerque, we have a variety of resources for food rescue, including a local food donation guide for restaurants and caterers. It highlights the liability and the safety elements, which we've heard as concerns, and it also highlights some food donation sites that expand on Roadrunner's existing network. We're really excited that this executive order is going to help take this work to the next level and really needs all of you to be part of it. Our system involves all of us, community and individuals. By preventing food waste when possible and recycling nutrients that remains, we're going to be able to reduce food insecurity and grow more local, healthy food. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra. And we have a ton of partners, as I mentioned, and we picked one that we've been just working with on a particular project. So I'm going to invite them up in just a minute. But I think I have a list of everyone who's even just here, let alone, I know there's more others, but we have Corrales Growers Market and Vendors, Downtown Growers Market and Vendors, Sweet Mercy Farms, Bear Canyon Honey, United Way, Agricultura, Food Rescue, Rio Grande Food Egg Project, Taproot Therapy, Wise Pies Pizza, and Health Equity Council, and the Street Food Institute, C&M, UNM, and Los Jardines. So now to hear from a little bit of perspective from one of our partners, please welcome up the Semilla Project. I think Aaron Lee.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aaron Lee. I work with the Semilla Project. I just want to say I'm proud to stand here on behalf of our team and the Loma Linda Community Center. Today, I'm here to just highlight how community farms like the ones at Loma Linda Community Center have helped residents of Albuquerque gain access to local, fresh, and affordable food right here in our city. For too long, too many families have had to drive miles just to find healthy produce, with even some neighborhoods lacking grocery stores entirely. We call those food deserts. But with this project that we're doing, we're hoping to change that. At Semilla, we know that the path to true affordability starts with really listening to our neighbors. Over the season, we've gathered more than 60 surveys from residents in nearby communities and heard that what we heard was clear, that families are struggling with food access, clean water, and safety in their neighborhoods. With the combined effort from community volunteers, we've demonstrated that a single acre of land can feed dozens of families, provide educational programs for youth, and even create local jobs, all while restoring the health of our soil, building community resilience, and reducing emissions. This season, we've given out over 500 bags of produce, and I'm really proud of that and all the community volunteers who have helped us to get to this point. And now through the mayor's executive order, we're expanding this vision, and we're looking forward to working with the city to hopefully replicate this model at community centers across the city, transforming public spaces into living classrooms and sources of nourishment. Each community farm could be a space where kids can learn to grow food, elders can share their traditional knowledge, and families can literally take home the fruits of their labor. It's about turning this unused land into a shared resource. And just to close with continued collaboration from the city and our community partners, we can make sure this vision becomes a reality, ensuring that every child in our city grows up knowing what fresh food tastes like and where it comes from. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has made this possible, the families, the community volunteers, our community partners, the people of the city, because I really believe in this vision, and I hope you guys too. We're not planting just seeds, but hopefully stuff for the future. So thank you all so much for being here, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And what we need to do is actually sign this executive order. So we got to do that. I do want to acknowledge from the mayor's office, our deputy chief of staff has really helped kind of quarterback all this. So please want to give Aria Lamb a round of applause for putting this together. So with that, let's do this. We can certainly take questions after. I know folks in the media are here. We're happy to take a bunch of questions. Also get you the right expert, like if it's about food rescue and so forth. But for now, let's go ahead and sign this. And what I definitely want to invite folks to join me. Like me sitting at a table is not fun. So let's all gather around, at least our speakers, everyone who wants to come, just be there for a fun picture. For what is a historic, the first ever food-related executive order that the city's ever done. So come on around. All right. So,
Get your hand real quick. Can you help me with this podium? There's a handle on the bottom that you can lift, and we'll just angle it away. I'm so sorry. We're swinging around.
Dave Campbell knows a good signing, got to be there. Richard, well, we'll make room for you. Scoot on in. I know we haven't done this since the J40 one. That was probably 4 years ago. Yeah. It's good to be doing it again. Okay, so just a quick thing. If you haven't been to one of these, there's always a fun tradition in government. There's like a fancy pen. I always remind everyone these are very cheap, but they look good. But if you think it's going to be like your special pen to write stuff with, it doesn't work very good at all. But anyway, but if you want a souvenir pen, I have them from governors and mayors and things like that. I'll set them out here and just grab whatever you need. And I know we're close to Halloween, so today is the 30th. Thank you. All right, so whoever wants one, just take one. Someone don't be shy. Okay. And look at that, there's 0 room in here for one. We'll get this done. And you can just pass them on. Let's see. We'll get them all. Get them all use this. All right, everybody, congratulations. Sure. Thanks so much, everybody.